Yo, what up? It's your boy Jerry the Great. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Just Jerry. This is a special episode. If you're listening to this episode the day that it airs, it's my graduation day, man. Graduating from Florida International University today with a master's degree in marketing. Now, I know last week I talked about why I chose that route and my thoughts up into it. But I didn't know. Before I go there, man, let me do this. I'm drinking on the show tonight. Haven't did that since I started it, but because it's a special show, it's a celebratory show. I got me a French 75, but it is a brandy. It's the Ciroc VS brandy instead of gin. So if you want to cheers your boy, go get yourself a French 75. That is the official graduation drink that I'm drinking on, and enjoy yourself. So if you hear me a little slurred, it's just because this episode was recorded a little pre-graduation turn up. But I on last Friday, I took some pictures at the house. I put my backdrop up. My wife came and took some pictures of me, just like a couple. I didn't want to do anything crazy. And it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And after I took the pictures, I was up and I was editing the pictures. And I think I got done with everything maybe like at 5 o'clock in the morning. And my wife was like, why do you have to get the picture today? Like, we going to go down to Miami and you going to take pictures on campus. And I said, wife, I got to put it up today because today is significant. I didn't know until Facebook gave me a fucking memory. But 9 years ago today, I flunked out of Daytona State College, which is a community college in Daytona Beach, Palm Coast area. So I said, look at my growth, because I can honestly say I wasn't supposed to be here. Not like this, not with the route that my life looked like it was going to go. Like, I looked like I was supposed to be a statistic. We all know them people who had endless potential, but didn't do anything with it. And you go back home and they're there. Nothing wrong with them. They just had so much more opportunity, whether they were excellent in sports or excellent in the classroom or excelled in any other field. They just never really had the opportunity to tap into their potential because of whatever reason. Could be it life, be it circumstances, whatever. And honestly, I was there, man. I was close. I was one bad decision away. So, and shout out to Miss Kim. Miss Kim was our middle school cafeteria lady who follows me on Instagram. And I posted the picture on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And she said, the Jerry I know could have never flunked out of anything. And I was like, well, Miss Kim, as I sip this drink, I got news for you. So I did dual enrollment in high school. And I highly recommend parents put their kids into dual enrollment programs. It's getting a little harder to do it now, I notice. You got to pass specific tests and be a certain GPA before you can go. But back in the day, if you wanted to do dual enrollment, all you had to do was apply, and your guidance counselor had to approve off on it. And that's basically what we did. And I was one of those students that I caught on to what high school teachers were doing. I caught on to they are giving us busy work. They are not really great in this, or once we get past the standard, whatever, past the FCAT and all that stuff, they just trying to graduate our asses and get us through here. They got real life happening to them too. So I started becoming very complacent in high school, not going to class, not going to my honors classes, not, showing up, refusing to turn in work. I wasn't a troubled kid, but where I was in life at the time after losing my daddy in 2007 and dealing with all the changes that happens after that, because my life definitely changed. I wasn't, high school wasn't fulfilling me. And then my peers, I will say, like, I always scaled older. So a lot of my friends were grades ahead of me. Like when I was a freshman, my friends were juniors and seniors. So when they graduated, it was like, nigga, ain't really even no reason to be here. So my guidance counselor in junior year, he allowed me to do dual enrollment part-time. So I had some classes at the college, and then I had maybe 1 or 2 classes at the high school. And it was cool, man. It was cool. I was at Daytona State College. I was majoring in psychology, quote unquote. And I was taking classes, driving to the college. I did the Palm Coast campus, driving to the college. And it was cool. It was what it was. I remember they gave us like a little bumper sticker, and I put it on the back of my window. And this dude I went to school with named Santos is like, Jerry, take that shit off of your window. That looks like too much of a commitment, and you gonna make it past here. You gonna make it out of here. Like, take that shit off of your Buick Park Avenue pot of blue. So senior year of high school, I was full time dual enrolled. And all of my classes were at the college. I didn't go to the high school at all, except for like those mandatory senior meetings. And I don't want to say that I was, killing the college game, but I was doing a lot better in college than I was at the moment in high school. Now, the only class that I had struggled in college while I was in high school, but dual enrolled in college, was psychology, which I had to retake. Going into my senior year, I had got a C, and I retook it. I got an A, and maybe the math class I struggled with. But when I did my senior year, I did just enough to. I already had my credits to graduate high school, and I did it just enough to maintain. So my initial plan, y'all, was to go off to college. I had 3 brothers already who were off at college. My sister Peggy had went to Bethune. I wanted to go to USF or UCF. I had applied to JU. I applied to FAMU. Had HBCUs been as prevalent now as they were back then in 2012 when I graduated high school, I would have went to FAMU. Not that they weren't prevalent, but it wasn't a big buzz. And because I grew up close to Daytona Beach, I felt like I knew Bethune, fam. Like it wasn't always highly encouraged to go to HBCU. Although FAMU definitely accepted me. So UCF, I believe, waitlisted me. USF put me on the wait list. JU accepted me. So I was like, okay, cool. JU gave me an acceptance letter. All right. My brother was like, you don't want to go to JU. He went to JU. My 2 other brothers went to JU. He said, if you're not going to JU to do a sport, you don't need to go to JU. It's too expensive. It's a private school. It ain't all that, crazy. Don't waste your time. He said, bro, you'll be better off staying in Palm Coast, getting your AA degree, because you're going to save money. He wasn't lying about that. You're going to save money. And you can stay here. You can stack up money, by working. You know what I mean? You can be here with mama. You got your car. You got your freedom. You the last one in the house. It ain't like you got younger siblings behind you who gonna be running around the house. You got the house to yourself, damn near. Stay here. Stay here for 2 years. Stack your money. Then go off to college and do whatever. So my brother Al gave me that advice. And I think it was the worst advice I've ever received from him, and I've ever taken. It was probably the best worst advice. The best because he was absolutely right in what he was saying, that you can stay, you can save money, you don't got to go spend all this money at JU. The worst because it kind of changed the trajectory of my life. But looking back now, 11 years later, I'm thankful for it, right? So that fall semester, I was full-time Daytona State College. All of my friends who were dual enrolled with me previously had either went off to college, to the military, or did their own thing. They referred to Daytona State College as the 13th grade. I refer to it still that way. And the reason why is because, not because of, it lacks or whatever. It's just, that's where a lot of people from your city or your neighborhood go to, the local community college, once they graduate, and it becomes a 13th fucking grade. So I, man, that fall semester, I got my first time getting a refund check, got a big dumb, stupid refund check. Big dumb, big scoop bald head of refund check. Big dumb refund check. Maybe about $4,000. School ain't cost nothing but $2,000. That's everything paid for. Okay? I ain't need to take out no extra loans. I could have paid for this for this whole school shit. But I got a refund check. I started working at a nursing home. This is like August of 2012. And, full-time student, staying in the city, best worst decision. And I wasn't doing the best because I wasn't taking it serious. Like, I wasn't taking the 13th grade. I did what I could. I did enough to pass. And that wasn't always the best. I would withdraw from classes. I would take a D, take an F. I'll make it up next semester. It wasn't nothing. In September 2012, on my birthday, I got arrested. So September 21, 2012, I got arrested. And I had, like I said, best worst decision, staying in the city. I had felony charges pending against me. Like I spent 16 hours in jail. I joke about it all the time, but that's a true story. Spent 16 hours in jail. Got arrested for, I think, either 1 or 2 felonies. Maybe, I think it was 2. It got arrested for 2 felonies on my record. But I'm working at the nursing home and I'm going to college. So at the end of that first semester, a lot of my grades from when I was in high school dual enrolling and then in college stayed with me. And like I said, I wasn't doing the best. So at the end of that fall semester, I was okay. It wasn't great though. So they let me stay. I did the spring semester. I'm still dealing with these charges. So now it's 2013, right? So in the summer of 2013, the job that I was working at, the nursing home that I was working at, basically sold the company to someone else. And when you sell the company to someone else, everyone had to get re-background checked. Now, what I didn't know was that when you re-background check somebody, if you are pending charges, it's going to show up on your background as not cleared. So I didn't even make it to the background check because I got fired before they had to do my background check. But it was going to eventually, I was going to eventually be let go. And then in that, I can't work nowhere else, nowhere that makes sense, because I would go and apply for jobs and they would want to hire me and they would say, we can't hire you because your background check says pending. We don't know what it is. We don't know what crime you allegedly committed, but we can't hire you. We can't take the risk because your background check isn't clear. So now I'm just a full-time student with no income coming in. It fucking sucks. This shit is horrible. El terrible. It's terrible. But I'm still in school. I can bank on this refund check from this fall semester of 2023 coming in. So fall semester, I had brought my terrible grades from the spring and before over. So at the end of the fall semester, I got called into the office and they basically said, listen, you got to go on academic probation because your GPA is fucking shit. Your GPA is terrible. We placing you on academic probation, sign this paperwork. And what this means is you have to maintain at least, I believe it's at least a 2.0 or a 2.5, whatever it was, in order to stay financially eligible to receive financial aid and to get your classes paid for. So I was like, fuck, okay. So in the midst of this, I was doing online classes. I wasn't taking those serious. It was interesting. So I said, man, I don't have no job. The only thing I have right now is school. Let me try to tighten up and get myself, back on track. So I said, well, fuck it. I'm not going to do any more online classes. Let me get all my classes in person. I will do Monday and Wednesday classes. I said, and to make it even better, I live in Palm Coast. I don't want to take classes in Palm Coast. Put all my classes in Daytona on the same days. I would drive down to 20 minutes from Palm Coast every Monday and Wednesday to take the classes in Daytona. because then I may feel motivated, because the Daytona State campus in Daytona looks like a real campus compared to the satellite campus in Palm Coast. The Daytona State campus in Daytona got dorm rooms attached to it. It's where they got the sports teams are down there. Like, it's still the 13th grade, but I don't live in Daytona, so it's not the 13th. Like, I'm gonna feel like I'm doing something with my life every Monday and Wednesday. I get up and drive to Daytona. My mama giving me $50 here and there for gas money, so I'm making shit work. But your boy was down bad. I look back at those days in my life and I'd be like, fuck. So I did a whole spring semester, spring 2014, driving back and forth to Daytona. I was a criminal justice major at this time, and my first class would start at 8:00 and my last class would end at like 1:30 every Monday and Wednesday. And I was figuring this shit out. And in that time, I started picking up the camera and shooting pictures and TV shows. I had to pick up a second hustle to make some money. So when I say I killed that spring 2014 semester, I killed that shit. I think the lowest grade I had all A's and B's, and then in one math class I had a B minus. Online math class I had a B minus. So I ripped. In my mind, oh shit, I done did it. I'm back off of academic probation. I'm cool. I'm back up. So I go into the summer, and in college summer starts like May-ish or whatever. And they're like, hey, you got some extra financial aid money left over. Do you want to pick up a extra math class that you need for your major? I'm on my high horse. I'm like, well, fuck, it's only one class. It's online. Yeah, I'll pick up the one class online. I got this now. I'm good. The math class was a little tougher than I wanted it to be. And I think I end up getting a C or a C minus in the math class. But I'm like, I'm still fine. My GPA from last semester, whatever. So that grade went in on a Friday. That Monday, as soon as the sun came up, I got an email from the school basically saying my financial aid had been revoked and that I was not able to be a student anymore. And I was like, what the fuck going on? Like, my GPA got to have went up. Like, I know I got this one C minus, but that can't. I called the school and I told them, I was like, shit, what the fuck y'all mean? Like, y'all ain't seen my grades from last semester? And they were like, yeah, but you signed this, this form saying that you was going to maintain X whatever GPA for a year. And I was like, oh shit, I did not know that it said for a year. And they were like, yeah, so because of that, your financial aid is being revoked. So I said, I hung up the phone. Then I called them back because I had a couple of questions. And one thing about me, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. The first question I asked was, can I still go to school there? They said, yeah, you can still go to school here. You just have to pay out of pocket. Okay, problem. I don't even have a job and I can't get a job. So in no fucking way in hell I can pay out of pocket. Okay, issue. Second question, is this for all schools or is this just y'all school? Like, can I go to somebody else's school? And they were like, sir, if somebody else takes you with your GPA, financial aid will pay for it, but the likelihood of someone picking you up with your GPA that you have here is very slim to none. But yes, you can use financial aid at another school. Okay, cool. That's all the fuck I needed to hear. That's all I needed. God damn it. He's spilling my little drink. If you telling me that I can go to another school was all I needed to hear. So I talk shit about my alma mater because of some of their practices. And it's not everybody, it's just some people. But what I will say, what I did in July, early August, I remembered that 2 years prior, because it's 2014 now, 2 years prior, not only did Jacksonville University accept me to their school, they gave me an academic scholarship. They give everybody an academic scholarship, but I had an academic scholarship. So me being novice and not knowing and being a question person, I said, I wonder if I call JU, is my scholarship still there? Like, can I come? And I called the school and I spoke to a lady, a white lady. I can't think of her name right now, but I definitely do appreciate her. and she told me that we will greatly accept you into our school. We will welcome you to JU, but we need $300. You need an application fee. You need all this shit. Oh, and you got like 20 days to do it. So I was like, fuck. So I had to work that summer, man. Like I had an iPad. I think I ended up selling my iPad that I had brought for maybe $300, $400 when I had money. I had ended up selling my iPad for $100. That was my application fee. And I had to basically grind to get to JU. And I remember when I got accepted into JU and they got my financial aid package and they finally found housing, I was in the hole $7,000 because of housing. I owed the school $7,000. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I was like, well, what if I don't stay on campus? Like, then how much I owe? They were like, oh, well, you're going to owe $3,000. So I said, well, shit, I can get a job on campus with some of this federal work study and work and find $3,000, but I don't know about $7,000. So I end up crashing at JJ's apartment, who was a GA. Shout out to JJ. And that's literally how I got to college. That was my journey to college. I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, and looking back, hindsight being 2020, I think even if I would have went off to USF or UCF or even FAM, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through what I went through then. And I'm just giving y'all like the surface of that shit, but it was bad, dog. Like it was to the point where I remember just being in my room and not necessarily asking God like, why me? But I was like, hey, we got to have a conversation, Lord. Like, come on now. Like, I ain't never been in trouble. Here I am with 2 felonies pending on my record for some shit I didn't even really do. I've always been a great student. I was the one in my family who they said was going to go to college and do amazing things. And here I am sitting here, you know, getting kicked out of community college. I can't work. My social life, I don't give a fuck about that. I can be social, but I don't like this. This can't be what you had in the cards for me, Jesus. And what I realized in that moment, man, was that, you know, sometimes things are supposed to happen to you the way that they're supposed to happen to you. Like, I'm much more appreciative and conscientious of the decisions that I've made and that I make and the things that go on around me. Like I'm much more I'm much more observant. I'm much more grateful than what I have, because everything I've got, I've had to work for. Like there's no time in my life, especially from a young adult to where I am now, where anything has been given to me. Nothing. And I think that you appreciate it a lot more when you work for it. I think that you appreciate things a lot more when you work for it. I like even when I got to JU and I owed them people money. Now my wife would tell y'all that I stole her position, and she low key she right. She recruited me for a radio class. This is before we were even dating. She recruited me to join a radio class, and I did because I was interested. And you know, I'm in college. I'm gonna take a full advantage of the college experience. I'm gonna do everything that I fucking can while I'm here. And I think that she was like the program assistant or something. But when you work for the radio station, you get scholarship money. They pay you money to, you know, run a radio station. And I was just a student, but I was going around the school, meeting with different people, asking like, hey, where can I find more money? I know you motherfuckers got it. This is a stick up. Where's the money? But a young lady named Davina Hamilton, who, I don't even know if she was a dean then, but she sent me to the chair of my department, Professor Stouse, who was like, oh yeah, Jerry, I'll take care of you. And then that fall semester, he said, I'm going to hire you to be our PR person for next year. But what he did that fall semester was paid me for a job that I didn't necessarily do, which made up for the $3,000 that I was lacking. Right. And then when the fall semester came, I ended up doing that full job. And at the end of spring semester, when the spring semester came, I ended up doing that whole job. And at the end of the spring semester, which was 2015, he offered me the station manager position. Granted, Veronica was supposed to matriculate into that position because that was next in line. But I'm not sure how it worked out. She was upset for a little bit. Understandably so, because she was like, I counted that money. That was a $5,000 position. That position paid $5,000. But you know, it ended up working out, and at that moment, I didn't have to pay anything else for school. Like, I'm sure I got loans and stuff that I got to pay back, but money for school was never a worry from that moment on, because I got more scholarships because my grades were better, and I got the Dolphin Radio thing. Like when you have to work for it, like I said, you take advantage of it. And although I was going through all that hell, all that shit at that particular time, and it was a lot, dog. Like I think about it now, and I lay back in my sofa when I'm driving down the street, and I look around and I'm like, Lord, I just give you all the praise and the glory, because I'm not even supposed to be here right now with the way that my life was going. And I remember I had to go to court. This wasn't first appearance. I remember first appearance too, though. First appearance, when you go to jail. So when you go to jail in Duval County, when you go to jail in Duval County, you can either wear a green jumpsuit or an orange jumpsuit. Orange jumpsuit means you're going to be in here maybe for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, no more than 30. They put your ass in the green jumpsuit. That means get comfortable, because your ass going to be here for the long haul. And they put me in the green jumpsuit. And I remember at first appearance, I'll go into this story on another episode, but I remember at first appearance, my co-defendants were in front of me, and I'm always the one that's going to ask questions. And my co-defendants, we all had the same pending charges. And the first guy went up, got his bail. We were getting our bail, got his bail amount. I think that they gave him like a no bail. Boom, he gone. I was like, oh shit. The guy in front of me, he went up. I think they gave him like a $50,000 bail. Boom, out of there. I step up. I'm the youngest one. And the judge, they doing their same little skill. I'm handcuffed. I'm shackled on my wrist, and the shackles go to your ankles. So I'm shackled. I'm in that bitch shackled. So I'm standing there with the shackles on, and I'm looking at the judge, and I'm looking at the state attorney, and I don't have you have no representation in first appearance unless you got a lawyer already, but I don't got no fucking lawyer. So I'm looking at the judge, and he talking to her, and she talking to him, and he talking to her, and then I said, Your Honor, can I just ask you one question? I said, is there anything that we can do? I'm a college student. I go to work because I had a job at this time. I go to work and I coach football. And the judge looked at my paperwork. He was like, you just turned 19 today. I was like, yes, sir, I did. I just turned 19. He said, if I let you out ROR, could you have a curfew? I could definitely have a curfew. ROR is released on own recognizance. So he dealt with the state attorney. He said, can we make a recommendation to ROR him? And the state attorney said, this helpful. I don't know who she was, but she looked at the judge. She said, Judge, that's not fair. The two defendants in front of him had the same exact crimes, and you gave them bonds of X amount. I don't see it fit that because he's younger, he gets a bond, he gets a ROR. The judge looked at her and he said, yeah, the defendant in front of him was 27. This kid is only 19. She said, Judge, my office is not in agreement. The judge looked at her, looked at me, looked at her, back at me, and then back at her, and he said, I put the bill at $10,000 and hit the gavel. And that was I got the lowest bail. I got out of jail maybe maybe 10 hours after that. But I was the first one out. I was the first one to get the fuck up out of there, nigga. Shit. But I've always been a question person, and I've always been one to use my resources. So like I remember when I started doing radio, I took over the position at the end of spring 2015, and I was staying at the campus over the summer, and this is where I got like my podcasting chops. Although podcasting was a new word back then, but this is where like I learned my skill. Like I was a terrible radio technician. If some shit broke, I was not the one to call to fix that. But when it came to getting the radio class filled with over 30 students, I'm your guy. When it came to getting celebrities to come to campus and to do interviews, easy. I think I had D.L. Hughley and Marlon Wayans, Andy Dick, Tracy Braxton, RIP, Rodney Perry, Lavelle Crawford, a lot of comedians, because I was a very comedian heavy. That's who I wanted to talk to. Walter Latham. I even had the guy Life Jennings. All these people were coming through the radio station to do interviews, and it's because I learned the word in my advertising class that spring semester called puffery. And puffery basically means that someone makes a statement that can't necessarily be proven beyond a fact. So an example of puffery is if you in New York and you walking down the street and you see a sign that says the world's greatest pizza. They can say that under puffery because there's no way that you can really compare their pizza to the world to know if they have the greatest pizza or not. Now, if that same pizza shop had New York's greatest pizza, that's not puffery because you can compare pizza shops within that small vicinity of a state, and people can judge, can vote, and then they can rate who the best pizza is. So I took that idea into radio, and I think I was calling the station America's #1 college radio station, or Florida's #1 college radio station, which is so many different college radio stations in Florida. It's hard to prove who really is. and that's what was getting people to come through to the station and do interviews with us, or more so with me, because hell, I was the only one working that summer, to do interviews at the campus. And that's how I got to here, like to the Jerry the Great that y'all see today. If it wasn't for none of that, my major wasn't even communications. My major was criminal justice. I transferred to JU and they didn't offer criminal justice. My brother JoJo said, well, shit, do communications. You like to talk, nigga. That's literally what he said. He said, shit, do communications. You like to talk, nigga. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll do communications. My wife pulled me into radio, and then post-graduation, podcasting was something else that pulled me because I couldn't get a job in fucking radio. I didn't want a job in radio either. Radio didn't pay like that. But even that now, Affion Crockett is a person who I interviewed when I was at JU. Great comedian. Know him from a while now. Y'all know Affion Crockett from everything. Affion Crockett changed not only the way that I do interviews, but the way that I approach interviews. Affion Crockett schooled me on air back when I was at JU, and I'm appreciative of it. So I used to send emails out on behalf of the radio station. We were Jacksonville's or Florida's #1 college radio station, and people would want to come in, like if they were doing the Comedy Zone club, they'll want to come and promote their show. So Affion came to the studio, and Affion brought with him a young comedian unknown to me at that time by the name of Justin Hires. And I wasn't prepping for Justin Hires. I didn't know Justin Hires was coming. I was just prepping for Affion. And this is probably 2015. summer 2015. So the Breakfast Club is hot. Charlemagne is the old Charlemagne, messed up face Charlemagne. And everybody's trying to replicate what they're doing on the Breakfast Club, even myself. So we're in an interview, you know, you talking, you get to know people, and I'm a pretty bubbly person, so I'm talking, and ironically enough, the night before my interview with Affion Crockett, Netflix is, I'm not sure if his comedy special was the first, but it was one of the first. They released Chris Tucker's comedy special. At this time in 2015, the masses hadn't seen Chris Tucker in a minute. And we especially haven't seen him in the comedy stand-up setting, right? So put this whole picture together. The night before, I watched Chris Tucker's comedy special. The next day, Affion Crockett comes to the radio station. Affion Crockett brings with him a young comedian by the name of Justin Hires. So we're talking comedy. I bring up Chris Tucker's comedy special. They ask me, how was it? And I make a joke, probably not a good joke, but I'm basically saying like, it was all right, it was decent. It ain't nothing to write home about. I was watching it at 3:00 in the morning. I fell asleep on it. Something crazy like that. Justin Hires made a comment back to my comment, and Affion Crockett kind of cut him off. I was like, that's kind of weird. Interesting. Right? So we're talking, and then I get to the part of the interview where I want to do this thing called one or the other, this or that. And I'm purposely crafting these questions on the Charlemagne the God Breakfast Club, let's start some controversy kind of bullshit, right? And I'm asking Affion Crockett, Kevin Hart or Mike Epps. Affion Crockett like, both of them. Monique or so-and-so. Both of them. I was like, damn, okay. So-and-so and so-and-so. Affion Crockett, both of them. And I was like, damn. He was like, you're not going to get me, dog. You're not going to pit me. He's like, because I know what you're trying to do, brother. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to say something, and then the little camera that you got right there recording me, I say something crazy, you go clip it, go put it on the internet, and then boom, Affion Crockett says Kevin Hart over Mike Epps, big controversy. He's like, you're not going to do that. He's like, why don't you take some more time and learn how to do some damn interviews. Research your guests. Learn who you're talking. Like, he started hitting my ass, drilling my ass. He said, learn who you got in the room. Look at the brother next to me. The brother next to him being Justin Hires. Ask questions. Ask some quality questions. I was like, well, damn. I ripped that whole goddamn sheet up that I had with the questions. I was like, well, fuck this. All right. And then we went on to it. We had a great interview after that. And I appreciated Affion for that, because in that moment, I was like, I need to do this shit the way that I want to do it, not how I think it's supposed to be done. Right? And putting two and two together, the guy Justin Hires that was sitting next to Affion Crockett in that interview that Affion Crockett brought with him had just been announced to play the James Carter role, Chris Tucker role, in the TV version of Rush Hour. Justin Hires, who I made a bad Chris Tucker joke about, had just got selected, maybe had been selected and maybe shot a pilot or some shit, to play James Carter in the TV version of Rush Hour, which is why Affion Crockett stopped him from saying something crazy. So in that moment, I was like, okay, this is how you're supposed to interview. This is how you do research. So when people always ask, like, why do you take the interview and stuff so serious? Why don't you just let anybody interview anybody? Because I know now the severity of it and the importance of it. And you can't just be a shock jock. You gotta go out here. You gotta, really, I really put my time and investment and work towards it. So I will say that because of Affion, that's how I am today. And and you know what? before we go to the song of the day and I get up out of here, I just want to say, in all that I've been through in life, right, and all the lessons that I've learned thus far, and I'm excited for what's to come and what more I have to learn, and I'm grateful for where I am. I remember when I was, when did Martin Lawrence Run Tell That come out on film? Martin Lawrence Run Tell That came out in 2002. I was 9 years old, and I was watching Martin Lawrence comedy special Run Tell That at 9. And in the comedy special, Martin kept saying this phrase over and over again throughout the special. As a 9-year-old, it stuck with me. Now, if you are older than me, in 2002, you know that Martin's coming from his successful run on the TV show Martin. Martin had got into a little legal trouble, a little health trouble, and Run Tell That is his message to the news, to the media, who's taking their spin on his life and telling his story without him. Run Tell That is him telling his story his own way of everything that he has going on in his life and had going on in his life, but he's controlling the narrative. But he said something constantly in that special that was the theme of it. As a 9-year-old, it stuck with me. And it was that no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. No one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. And as a 9-year-old, that stuck with me. I remember going into 4th grade, whenever you got to write your FCAT, if you're in Florida, your FCAT Florida writes, and we would do all our practice tests and we would practice writing. And I put that in one of my speeches. I probably spelled tribulations wrong, but it was that no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. And one thing that I've realized that it's a constant is that no matter how bad shit is in the moment, like, don't give up in the moment. Work through it. Like, fight your ass through the end of it. Because if you are already in hell, why would you stop in hell? Get the hell out of there. And it's easier said than done. I'm a product of it. I've done it. I know many people that have. I'm sure it's been moments in my life where I've had to do it again. Maybe not as severe, but I've had to do it again. And I will say that work begets work. Like, don't stop working. Even when they say you can't work, like they told me, don't give up on working. Work is going to beget more work. So no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life, and work begets work. And that is my song of the week this week, man. This song is just a motivator to me. I know that I work hard sometimes, maybe more than I should. I should take more time and enjoy the fruits of my labor. But one thing that you can't sit down as a man or a woman who is working. And one thing you can't slow down is a man or a woman who's working. So my song of the week this week, y'all, is the Isley Brothers, Work to Do. Hey, thank y'all again for all the graduation congratulatory messages. Again, if you want to celebrate with your boy, go get you a French 75. You can do it with gin. I did mine with Ciroc VS Brandy. Get your drink, a little lemon juice, a little simple syrup, mix that thing, and a little bit of champagne, mix that thing up. You got you a nice little drink. Work to Do, Isley Brothers.